Hello fam, welcome to Driven Life TV. Welcome to another video. Thank you so much for tuning in today and for taking time to watch today's video. So today we're continuing to talk about the passing of Malawi's Vice President, Dr. Saulos Klaus Chilima. And so today we want also to give some airtime to some of the people who died alongside him. We want to talk about Chilima's probably track record in business and also what he did politically. I will just briefly look at those things, and also we'll look at a certain one of the victims of that tragic accident, his situation in particular, and then we're going to dwell on that, and then we'll conclude the video at the end. So we're going to analyze some of the things that have come up since the president's press briefing, and so let's dive into it together right now. So the first thing I wanted us to look at is, first of all, I think from yesterday we talked about how these people were actually on a plane because they were going to the funeral of Raf Kasambara. Raf Kasambara was a very famous lawyer in Malawi, and so he had passed away recently, and then Chilima was a very close, I don't know if it was a friend or someone acquaintance, I'm not sure, but they were close. I think there's some pictures that have surfaced on social media of them two together, okay, maybe spending time, leisure time, not just on official basis. And so they were close, and then Chilima said, no, I can't miss the funeral. I have to go and attend it in memory of my friend, in respect for my friend, in honor of my friend. And so at the same time, his wife, Mary Chilima, said she denied going along with him on the journey because she had an exam. I think she's doing a paper. I don't know if it's a PhD or a master's, I'm not sure. But yeah, she's doing a paper, and so she had an exam. So she said, I think I need to stay and focus on that. And so Chilima went ahead with some military personnel, his bodyguard, and a couple of people. So they went on the plane, and so the tragic thing happened. First thing that happened was that they failed to land at Mzuzu Airport because the weather was that bad. Okay, they couldn't see anything, so it was very bad. It was not easy to navigate. Okay, and then they said, I think what I heard was that they chose to maybe circle around so that the weather maybe could improve after an hour or so. So in the process of circling around, according to what I heard, I'm not sure. If you have better information, please let me know in the comments. So as they were circling around, that's when they encountered bad weather in Chikangawa forest as well. And so because of the bad weather, they got lost in the fog, in the winds and things like that. And they began to fly close to the surface. And the next thing you know is they're hitting things and trees and things like that. They dove into a hill or something like that. And so that's what happened. Okay. So the search and rescue teams went out after hearing of the situation that the plane had been missing for some time. What they could pick up was a small signal, but that plane does, the Donia that they were using does not have a transponder. That's what I heard as well. And so I'll show you the plane right now, the one which they used to fly to the funeral. And so it doesn't have a transponder, but they could pick up the signal. And that's how they knew that the plane is still in Chikangawa forest. So they also saw that the amount of time it had been there, it was very unusual. It was unlikely that they had landed in that part of Chikangawa because that was really in the midst of the forest. So they emergency calls went out, and people began to say, okay, we need to put up rescue teams, we need to go and check out because this is not looking good at all. And so the weather was pretty bad, to be honest. And I'm going to show you, I think, the video of just an example of how bad the weather has been here in the north, in Mzuzu especially, and also parts of Ikwendeni. It's been terrible. And so you're going to see right now the video of that type of weather. So imagine flying through that. Okay, so that's what I wanted you to see. And so anyway, the rest is what happened. You know, a couple of people, I think it was 10 people in total who lost their lives. Okay, Chilima included. And it's a tragic loss. I only came across a few of the pictures of some of the victims. I think they're saying that there was also a soldier by the name of Kapeni. I'm not sure if he had any titles, but there's also Chimaneni, and also there's Daniel or someone like that. And then there's also the wife of the former president, Bakili Muluzi. Okay, Chanel as well. I don't know if it's Chanel, I'm not sure. But the wife is also was also a victim in that tragic clash. And there was also a female by the name of Mtukule, I believe, and also there was a certain female who was also the pilot. I think this one was very esteemed in the military in Malawi because she was the first female pilot, and she also lost her life in that. I think her name is Suleimani, I think her surname. So that's a big loss for the military. People were actually talking about how much of a loss she is, and so it's really incredible. There was also another person by the name of Major Wells Aldin. Okay, Aldin, I think so. I think that's how they pronounce his name. But yeah, he also lost his life. And so what I also want us to dwell on is just the situation. First of all, the female pilot. She was well decorated. She was one of the best pilots that Malawi had. Okay, especially in the military. And so her loss, the loss of this pilot is a very big thing, and I think the military has really mourned the loss a lot, and yeah. And then the other situation is for Major Wells Alden. That's the situation I wanted us to dwell on. And so as I'll be talking, I'll be showing you some of the pictures that have been coming up with regards to the same funeral and the arrangements that have been made, and and so Major Wells Alden was actually supposed to get married on the 5th of October this year. Okay. And there were preparations. He had a fiancée, and they were planning to get married on the 5th of October. And then all of a sudden this thing happens and he loses his life. And imagine imagine how that would feel. You're preparing for a wedding, you have your life mapped out and planned out. You can look at the future and say, man, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna get married. This is who I'm gonna spend my life with. Okay. And the next thing you know is that you are get involved in this tragic accident. That's what happened to him, and it's actually clear that the relatives are very devastated with the situation and all that. And so, man, it's tragic. One of the shout outs I want to give is to Zambia as well for the support they have rendered to the nation. They sent out their Air Force helicopter to actually drop the bodies from Chikangawa to, I believe it was Lilongwe, and that's a good gesture, especially for neighboring country, and it was incredible. So you'll see some of the pictures as well of the Air Force helicopter coming to carrying the bodies of the victims, and yeah, so it's been good to hear the support that people have showed, but at the same time, it's just been a tragic and sad day. And so I wanted to also give sort of just a brief recap on the history of Chilima and his business career. And so the first thing that we see is that he was a marketer by profession. And Chilima started his work career at Lever Brothers Limited, now Unilever, before moving on to Leasing and Finance Company of Malawi, and then later Southern Bottlers, which is now Castel Malawi. So he has worked in big companies. His last professional assignment was at Airtel Malawi. This is where now he made his mark, because he was hired as a to lead the sales team, and then being named the first ever local managing director for the company in 2010. Chilima's most notable professional career successes include spearheading the strategic and breakthrough projects of Airtel, namely Project Precision, Yaboga, Airtel Money, and the 3G network upgrade, which resulted in significant impacts on the business revenue and employee engagements, and growing Airtel Malawi's annual revenue by 75% over a period of 3 years, from $54 million in 2010 to $95 million in 2013. That's how much of a serious marketer he was. And so this is why people really felt like he was the best person to run the economy of the nation. And so that's why people really anchored most of their hopes on him. So it's a big loss, and yeah, it's a sad day for the country. But one thing I want to reiterate is that, man, you don't know when your day is. You understand? It's always important to stay ready. It's always important to make sure your relationships with your loved ones are intact, are moving well. Make sure that you're in good terms with those people you love. Make sure you live your life well, because you don't know the day. You don't. It's very vital that we really get our affairs in order. You do not know. Make sure you tell your loved ones that you love them. Make sure you care about them. You show them the love they need. Make sure you're there for the people that you know. Make sure you're even praying. You're in good terms with God. You know, some of these things that we say, a long life is a guarantee, man. It's not a guarantee. But at least when you're walking with God, you have insurance. You understand that your life has hope beyond this, beyond death. So at least even God is able to protect you in the moments when danger is coming your way. And there are moments as well where you actually get a warning inside your heart. You actually know, I don't need to go on this. I don't need to do that, because the Holy Spirit will be there to lead you and to become a compass for you, to tell you what areas you should navigate and what areas to avoid. And so it's really, really imperative that you get your affairs in order. It's really imperative that you really, really, really are in right standing with God. But I know that it's a sad day for Malawi. People continue to mourn. Actually, the president has declared a couple of days, I think weeks of mourning for the loss of the vice president. So that's also something that as Malawians will need to observe. But otherwise, for those people in other countries, please continue to pray for our nation, especially for the elections that are coming up, and even this time when it's difficult. Continue to pray for those people who have victims, who have lost loved ones in this tragic accident. It's not easy to go through tragic moments like this. Yeah. Otherwise, there's so many conspiracies, but that's not what we're dwelling on right now. All we're dwelling on is that of what happened, and we're also praying for the people who are involved. That may God really comfort them. May God give them the strength they need to go through this time with peace, and we pray that they don't crumble. May they stay strong, and may God give them the comfort they need. So, yeah, that's what I wanted us to look at today. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, please subscribe, please comment below. I would like to hear your thoughts. Until next time, have a good one.